Oh, there we go. And good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Bob. Just finishing up my yummy sandwich. Mm-mm-mm. I'm here at my elevator music office. I'm so glad to see you. And here it is. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, baby Jesus. Baby Jesus is born today in you. When people talk about being born again, that's what they're talking about. So I was born to be a rocket scientist for the Pope, right? In Catholic families, Irish and Catholic families, there's always one guy who's going to be a priest. There's always one girl who's going to be a nun. No? Because that gets you in on the pyramid scale, right, of religion. Right? Well, I was a little more than what my parents expected. My mom, after the fourth one of us, or third one of us, no, fourth one of us, not third, no, fourth. My parents, not everyone should be a parent. Just because you can book, it's weird. Those little swimmers into the big valley. Doesn't mean you should. Doesn't mean you, and it's so easy not to get pregnant. Knowledge is power. Instead of abortions, instead of birth control, which is a drug that totally whacks women out of their gourd, what you have to do, when I was in sixth grade, we were taught biology. I mean, the kind of biology that then when I went to prep school, that's the biology. But the biology I got in sixth grade was better than the biology I got in sophomore year of high school, right? Way better than the biology I got in college, right? Because the guy who taught it, Mr. Morales, who was also my geometry teacher, basically taught us, natural sciences and biology. We cut up frogs. In sixth grade, we cut up frogs, right? We had generation after generation of fruit flies. We did all this stuff. Some people got Nobel Prize. Right? So we were Nobel laureates. And in my crew, we were all going to be scientists. And my crew was J.P. Hoagland, Buzzy, Maddie Law. Maddie Law's like the only black kid, and he was black. His daddy's from Africa. But so am I. I'm an African American. That's a melanin challenge, right? But my mom was like this with the Catholic Church. And my dad was one of those soldiers of the Catholic Church, those Teutonic Knights. That was my dad. He was a bird colonel of the U.S. Air Force, Strategic Air Command. And he was in charge of incinerating Europe and Japan, right? And between those two, he was one of the first guys, he got his chops because he tried to get in the Air Force during the Depression. He graduated college in the 30s, right? And, couldn't get a job. And he did get a job being a ticket taker for the New York World's Fair, right? And that's where he met my mom. My mom was in charge of, they had a hospital there at the World's Fair, right? She was in charge of it because she was in charge of a hospital in New York called Roosevelt Hospital. She went there when she was 16, became a nurse, became head nurse, was in charge of the nursing school, and then she took care of. They also had a doctoring school. She was administering that. My mom was an amazing administrator because she was like, you know, um, what's his name, the Nazi Spear, Albert Spear, right? So there she was, and they had these uniforms at the thing that they would look like super. She had a cape, right? And she kept all of her 1939 New York World's Fair, right, stuff. So and she was the guy who was governor of New York, head of the machine. Johnny goes on and on about how his election was stolen. What was stolen to put him in, right? I mean, there is no such thing as I mean, we are never given a choice. The kind of choice we get is whether we have 15 different kind of blueberry muffins, right? The bran muffin with blueberries, whole wheat with blueberries, blueberries with simulated nuts. You don't want to know where they came from. And so my mom was in charge of the everything medical at the New York World's Fair. And so they were building it. And the World's Fair was, a boondoggle, not a boondoggle, but a political thing, meaning FDR is trying to get, the New Deal together. And the guy who is governor, Al Smith, I think is his name, he wants to be president, right? Well, one of the highest populated places in their time was New York, right? So anyway, and the other odd thing about New York was that you had New York City, and then you had Western New York, which was like the rest of the United States. And at that time, virtually every family who had farms and businesses and things like that in New York, parts of their families had moved west. So they had fingers in every state in the Democratic Party. And then that happened with Donnie. Because you could have put up anything. If Bernie had been put up for president, he would have won hands down. Right? But, and, Hillary Clinton, she's there having rallies. You can't even put 6 people into a high school auditorium. Bernie's filling up football stadiums, 40, 50,000 screaming people. We love you, Bernie, right? And he was killing everything up until California. And then the special blah, 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 and bingo, Bernie wasn't going to be president. Right? Hillary was going to run against the carrot head, right? The good old mega, make America gone again, right? Since the 70s, we were getting, black people, colored people rights, women's rights, gay rights. What's going on here? It's all getting out of hand. We got to do something about this. It's all about white people. Even though our demographic is like, white men are just so seminally challenged. Their little swimmers can't do it. But back to 6th grade, so we learned biology. 7th grade, we learned sex education from Mr. Morales and Debbie Constant, right? Constant. Miss Constant. Boy, she was ever constant. Woo! Every little boy's wet dream, right? So they're the two teaching, and he's like, this Hispanic, just cool dude. I mean, he makes the Macho Man look like a little worm, right? So anyway, so they show us all they have like little models, and she's holding the male model and doing this, and he's doing the female model, doing this, and they're giving us all the real tips on what it's all about, and then they say, So when you're down there in the hoo-hoo land and you're doing this, you should basically stick it all the way in and then pull your hand out. And if you do this, and there's like a little mucusy thing, don't stick your Johnson in there, right? Don't put Stan in the garage. Don't do it because that means she's pregnant, right? And there's other thing they taught us about the calendar, the cycle, right? And then they taught us about guys, little swimmers. Depending on your blood type, you have a choice. At one blood type, your little swimmer loves it hot, right? So if you want to get pregnant, boys wear whitey tights. If you don't want to get pregnant, you wear no underwear or let them swing in the breeze, right? And if those little, if the garage is nippy and the little swimmers get cold, their sperm modality goes way down, right? And the sperm modality isn't above 90%. 89% and below, the odds of you getting pregnant go down. And if your sperm modality is like in the 20s, forget about it. You're never getting pregnant, right? So, those three things: mucus, calendar, and what blood type, and what your little swimmer's like. So, if your little swimmer's like it warm, you let them swing in the breeze. If your little swimmers like it cold, wear tighty whities. Bingo. I've never gotten a woman pregnant, right? And so that's all you got to do. The Catholic Church is down with the calendar, right? Now, if it works for dogs, it works for, human beings too. So I'm surrounded by all these moronic folk who come from Florida, California, New Jersey, and New York, and Texas, places such as that, who think they're rich, just because they have somewhat of a, can spend a few dollars on this, that, or they have credit. They have credit. They think they're rich. That's a true sign of a moron, right? And what is a moron? If you look in the Latin, moron means meaning you can't see past the tip of your nose. That's a moron. That's in Latin, right? So moron isn't some genetically, that's not a moron. No. It's a person who has a different skill set. That's all. Meaning when that nun murdered me in first grade, crushed my left orbit, right? So my eye sees way different than most other people. I was sitting next to a beautiful young woman, and we're having such an engaged conversation. She kept looking at me because the sun was the last YouTube. The sun was hit me like this, and it was like making this eye sparkle. She goes, "I've never seen that. Your eye is sparkling. How is that?" I said, "Well, I was murdered by a nun in first grade, and she crushed the orbit of my eye, so it has squeezed my eye like a lemon, and so it's a different shape than most people's eye, right? So my retina is doing way different things, looking at different frequencies of light in ways that most humans can't, right? This, she broke the little stirrup in my ear. So this is very interesting. I can hear people hundreds of yards away just talking like this, right? But if you're standing right in front of me and talking to me, I have to put this ear towards you, right? So whenever I'm talking to somebody, I always kind of sit the person next to this side. And she also crushed my larynx and my voice box. So if you hear me speak a little different, it's because I'm speaking a little different, meaning my voice box doesn't work like everyone else. So I have to breathe a different way. But by doing that, I learned at that early age how to meditate because I was going into state. So here we go. We're going to go into state. There's two of you there. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your sensei, Alma. And here it is. It's Jesus' birthday. Every day is Jesus' birthday. When people say, I'm born again, you need to be born again every second of your life. You need to have Jesus in your heart. And let's talk. Let's talk to the unmentionable. Let's read what the unmentionable one has said about that. Right? John,
Hi, how are you?
blessed be. It's Jesus' birthday. John, do you know what born again means?
Born again?
Mm-hmm. You hear Christians say it all the time. I'm born again.
Well, here's what I think born again means. Here's what I think born again means. They got it wrong. I think they got it wrong, Al. Born again means that you die and you sleep awaiting judgment day, and then on judgment day you're risen, and that's when you're born again into your new life that lasts forever. And that's what born again really means. And you don't know if you're really saved until Jesus says you can enter the kingdom of heaven. You can enter heaven. You can enter heaven when Jesus says, you made it. When they judge you on judgment.
So how does that go down? Is there a roulette wheel? Do they spin it, and if the ball
no
goes in the right slot, you go to heaven,
they
and if
know
you go to the wrong
God
slot,
knows everything.
you go to hell and live in the burning pit of flame for the rest of eternity?
If you live your life, if people live their life in wickedness and were mean and sinful or unrighteousness, then that's what they did with their life, and that's how they were, and they can't bring that into heaven because they wouldn't know how to be.
But
and
isn't that why Jesus died for us on the cross? So he
have to be destroyed.
It is done. Father, forgive them. They do not know what they do. Meaning God's unconditional love.
But that's not everyone.
Always forgiving. Always.
There are some people
God
who are
is never not there. God is always there.
There are some people who are really mean.
I mean, well, how do you define really mean? Throwing someone out in the middle of winter and having them freeze to death, is that really mean?
I never did
or
that.
Is that just a person's anxiety and it's okay? They were anxious, so it's okay to put one person, two people, their whole family at jeopardy because they're feeling uncomfortable. Is that okay?
I don't do that to anybody.
I didn't say you did. I said, is that okay?
I lick your asshole, man.
So is that a righteous statement? Does Jesus Christ think that's a righteous statement? When you're talking about God's love, is that a righteous statement to say? So John, how was your Christmas? What did you do for Christmas? Christmas Eve day, what did you do? Christmas Eve evening, what did you do? Christmas morning, what did you do? How'd you celebrate baby Jesus' birthday?
I don't know. What did you do?
Well, first off, Christmas Eve.
I'm having a root beer.
As I said, when it got really cold that Thursday before Christmas week, there are a number of homeless people that kind of are being squished out of their homes by the rich people. So they were up in the woods and they weren't really prepared. So I have a box that I used to live in that has a wood stove, and I put them all in there. And I had no money, but I still had, cans of food. So for that whole week, I fed those people. And I helped them get firewood. And we had a Christmas Eve morning feast, a Christmas dinner feast. I built a really big bonfire in my fire pit, and we stood around that, and we looked at the stars, and we saw.
I lick your asshole, man. Oh no!
And so that whole period of
shit.
Christmas Eve.
No.
for that whole Christmas Eve day, I felt Jesus' love in my heart in a way I never had before. And that's why I felt I was born again. I cracked the door and let Jesus in.
Praise Jesus.
So,
Praise God.
so that's how I spent Christmas Eve. And I read Charles Dickens'
Praise God.
Christmas.
Praise Jesus. Praise God. Praise Jesus. Praise the Lord.
So I have been living every day since Christmas Eve, and we stayed up all night.
I lick your asshole, little Richard.
So
Yeah! Yay!
So, what was your last electric bill, John?
Yay!
You know, if I do come and visit you, we don't have to turn on the heat pump. We don't have to turn on any electric heating down in the basement, down in the main floor. I can keep everything warm. You don't have to spend a penny more. I sure would be interested to know what your electric bill was this month, right? And I wasn't there at all.
No.
So, John, why do you always So who am I speaking to, John? What personality?
John Birmingham. Me.
Who is that black voice? Or was that a black voice? Was that the devil? Was that Satan speaking?
No. God and Jesus. No, God and Jesus. I saw a picture of Little Richard, and I liked Little Richard because he believed in God and Jesus. Playing music? Are you playing music? Who's playing music? They're playing music. She is good. She is good.
So what are you going to do this winter, John?
Be alone, maybe. I don't know.
Be going to Texas?
Be with you. You can maybe be. I don't know. You can maybe live here. Oh,
I can only live there if you promise not to throw me out. And I can't drive the 200 miles there and then be thrown out. That makes no sense. But if I can stay there until, I would come sometime in January, stick around till early March, that would be great. But I'd much rather, this was historically the coldest time ever, and I lived through it relatively comfortably. And the thing that truly kept me warm was the helping the homeless get through the winter or get through that week, right? I shared my food. I shared I went through all my stuff and found gloves and scarves and hats for them. And and I have nothing. I mean, you have, you can just call up Amazon and it delivers whatever you want. I have nothing, right? But I have a lot of stuff. So all that stuff I took out of the school, all my clothes and stuff.
Does Amazon deliver to you? All you need is the app and a credit card.
Well, I have neither. I have no internet and I have no credit card. I have no money, John. I live on $300 a month. Could you live on? How much money do you spend a month, John? I only have $300 a month. That's it. That's for everything. My health care, gas for the car, insurance, electric bill, $300 a month. You probably spend that. What was the last amount of food did you buy from down there at Kroger's? What, $500, $600?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you have so much money, you don't know what you spent, right? And so, I had that experience. You know, when as 15 years I worked for the corporate world. Yeah, I was in the same thing, right? But right now, and that's the beauty.
What is the first thing that you asked when you called?
The first
When
thing
you
I
called,
asked, the first thing I asked when we started talking was, "What did you do for Christmas? What did you do Christmas
but
Eve
something
day?
before.
Or what did you do Christmas Eve? How did you share it? Because Christmas is something to be shared with other human beings, because Jesus Christ came into this world to share his unconditional love with all of humanity, not just Christians, everybody, right? And that's what Christmas is supposed to be. And that's why I celebrate Christmas 24/7, 365. Every day is baby Jesus' birthday.
Hey, guess what I did?
What?
You celebrate his birthday all week though.
I celebrate 24/7, 365. Every second of my life, I have baby Jesus in my heart, right? In my head. I that I let the door open and I let Jesus into my whole spirit, right? There isn't a thing I don't, go on about anything. I don't. I mean, man, I am like this week. I spent at doctors. You know, my legs are really cold. Really did a number on my legs, on my eyesight, on my lungs, on my heart. I had all kinds of procedures done to me to keep me alive. And they said, you need to be in a warmer place. I said, I don't have a warmer place. You know, I could go to my friend John, but he always throws me out in the cold at the worst time in the worst place. So it's a lot safer for me just to be in the woods. I know what it is. It's a constant I understand, right? And you're not that far from me. So, meaning not you, John, but my medical health is not that far from me. And they all care. So I can get a hold of them and they can come and get me, you know? So, that's kind of where I'm at, meaning I have $300 a month. That's it. I have no mommy and daddy to put money in both my parents are dead. Pretty much everyone I ever loved died, you know. I have lost 50 people that I truly loved, especially in the 70s to AIDS. I lost a lot of friends to AIDS. I lost a lot of friends to addiction and suicide. And that's why I'm always concerned about you, you know? So I want you to stay healthy. I want you to be the best you can be, you know? And I have great faith in Jesus' love that you will be that. And you've come a tremendous way, John, since, 2015, you've come a tremendous way. And so I only wish the best for you.
Andy Warhol.
So did you go see your family for Christmas? Did you go see your mother and your father and your sister?
Maybe I don't know.
You don't remember. Well, you missed a great Thanksgiving. Boy, that was loads of fun. You know, the whole time you blew up my phone on Thanksgiving Eve and Thanksgiving Day, saying, "Don't be in my bed. Come up to it. Come up to see me. Come up, me. You can stay here all winter." And then I went up there the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and I tiptoed my car up that death-defying driveway, and I got there, and you threw me out within 25, 30 minutes, which was good because it was 10 in the morning and I could get back no problem, you know?
Yeah.
And so what did you spend Christmas like you spent Thanksgiving? All alone? All by yourself?
It didn't feel bad. Because I just realized that it's not that important.
So, John, do you know what the difference between religion and theology is? You've got a college degree. You have a master's degree. You are certificatized. You know you.
Theology is the study of various religions, and religion is one religion to different kinds of.
Not really, because you do not describe or define something by using the question. You know, religion and theology are two different things. Because theology, it ends in ology, which means the science of, right? And so when the Holy Roman Empire was formed, they formed theology. And because science was coming in, and basically theology is the science of God, understanding God through our consciousness, not just by tradition. And religion is basically based on a transactional relationship with God. I'll check all of these boxes, and then when I die, I'll be born again and come to heaven. And everyone who hasn't checked all the boxes, hasn't given money to the gated community, won't get in. But I will, because I've checked all the boxes. Now I've been mean and cruel and terrible, but I've checked all the boxes. That's religion. That's religion. But theology is understanding God. And that's why the other ologies, psychology, sociology, anthropology, are connected to understanding God. You cannot understand God unless you understand your own psychology, why you do the things you do. That's what psychology is. What are your motivations, right? And sociology, you can't understand your psychology unless you understand your sociology, which is, where are you now? What job do you have? What is your sexual preference? What gender or class or race you are. That's sociology. And anthropology is, where did grandma come from? What are your roots? What did you celebrate? What did you eat? What are the things that are, from the old country, right? And so to understand those three, that's how you understand God, not through some catechism. And the Bible is a sacred document, but you cannot just read one. You have to read the Old Testament with the New Testament. They go together. That's why they're in the Bible. And parts of the Old Testament, like Acts, right, and Nezariah. Nezariah is the story of a child of God who worked for the king, who kept everything going, but he served God first. And so he had a real hard tightrope to walk, because he had to serve the king and God. And the king always got upset because he served God before him. And so that's the story of Nezariah. And it's a really, really, really good part of the Old Testament. And so is Acts. Acts is about, how do you act? What are the actions do you need to be to show your love, right? And being born again every second of your life, being the birthday present for baby Jesus, right? That's what it's all about, right? Opening up the door of your heart and let baby Jesus in. Meaning, these folks who are out in the woods, and I put them in a warm place, they're annoying. They are greedy. They're selfish, right? But they were in need, right? It was going to be ridiculously cold. If they were out there just in the woods, they'd be dead. I put them in a box that had a wood stove, and I fed them, and I took care of them, and I still am, right? At a certain point, they're going to get bored with me, because I don't, one guy wanted, can you drive me to get cigarettes? I said, no, you need to stop smoking cigarettes. You can't tell me what to do. I'm going to smoke. I said, good. Go walk the 3 miles down to the store and buy your cigarettes. Well, I need money. Give me money. I said, no, I'm not giving you. I have no money to give you. I gave you a warm place. I've been feeding you. and you won't even help me go get water, right? But you want me to give you water. This is like straight out of the Bible, right? And this is how you show you love Jesus. By It's annoying dealing with these people. They really are freaking you. You think I'm annoying, a guy who does his best to walk softly in the school, the guy who cooks for you, that guy who always makes the fire and keeps the house warm, that guy, the guy who always listens to you and tries to give you insight to what you're doing, right? No matter how you curse at me, no matter how you treat me poorly, I always am there because you're my friend and I don't give up on friends, right? Now, I don't do the same thing over and over, About 2.5, 3 years ago, September, the last time he threw me out was, uh, a couple of Saturdays ago. But that almost doesn't matter. I was there for 20 minutes. I knew you were going to do it, and so, but I came up there knowing that you were going to do it. Right? I put myself at jeopardy because you're my friend. Right? You never put yourself at jeopardy for anyone. I mean, you put yourself at jeopardy for yourself all the time, and you put others at jeopardy all the time. But you don't understand. See, you don't understand what you really do, and because you aren't really trying to change, you really aren't. Meaning, I was there for almost 3 years. I was a guy who really helped you out. I was a guy who, if you had, I tried to have you meditate. I tried to have you connect to God's unconditional love, right? Why don't we try and do this here right now? You sitting down right now?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't you breathe in through your nose, fill your lungs, and you two audience, breathe in, fill your lungs, fill your lungs, fill your lungs, fill your lungs, hold it, and then breathe out. Right? Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. More. Focus your conscious mind on your breath. Hold it, and as you're breathing out, this is a prayer. Conscious intent I am. Conscious intent I am. Conscious intent I am. Oh. Conscious intent I am. Conscious intent I am. Oh. John, do you know what I am is?
Well, I don't know.
I am, when in the Bible, when the burning bush contacted Moses up there in the field with the sheep and said, Moses, you need to go to Egypt and set our people free. And Moses said, why should I? They tried to kill me. They don't treat me nice. Now I'm here over near, your house up on this mountain, and I can talk to you. And I met this really great guy, and he has these great daughters, and I married one of them. She is, remember Noah's wife's name? So, right there, gang. Great example of why he is the unmentionable one, why he is the canary in the coal mine. He is a great example of what's going on. Why there's a war in Ukraine, why there's a war in Yemen, why there's a war in every place in the United States. So, I'm, in my 70s, and I have what is known as endemic memory, meaning I remember everything, right? Especially once I learned how to go into state and look at my Akashic record, right? So, how many minutes is it? Oh, almost 40 minutes. So I'll say good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Alba. I want to thank those few of you who have sent something to my PayPal, and it works, right? And it's really interesting. The folks who have the least send me what they can, which I really, truly appreciate. That's why I'm talking to you now. I had enough money to some gas in the car, and boy, I missed it by a day. Gas around here was $2.25, right? And it took like 6 months to go down from $3 to $2.25, right? But it only took 6 hours for it to jump from $2.25 to $2.99, which gives you a straight up slap in the face. Hey, you are being played. Just wait till I've been talking about the big splat now 3 years. Right? And what is it? It is a rebranding of the same old same, right? You go read Macbeth's, Shakespeare's Macbeth, right? That is where we are right now. Right? Some moron Macbeth who is, just like the moron Johnny Toilet, JT, we all call him Johnny Toilet. Johnny Toilet. Johnny Toilet. And that's why I call him the unmentionable one, because you go, why do you call Johnny the unmentionable? Well, because his real name is Johnny Toilet. Right? And if you ever get a hold of him on his whatever, grab him by the Johnson and say, why, Johnny Toilet? Is your name Johnny Toilet? And see what happens. Right? So, you're being played, guys. And Johnny Toilet is the canary in the coal. Just watch. Just watch. Just go to Johnny Toilet YouTube, right? And his last one, he wears, floppy shirts. He's got a nice set, double D's, and his nipples are like fingers, because it's cold there. He's always running around in a t-shirt and bare feet and hot pants, and it's like a roulette wheel. What color his hair is going to be? But you keep dyeing your hair that way, man. Another few years, you're going to kind of look like this. Now, I look like this because my father looked like this, my grandfather looked like this, but not Johnny Toilet. His grandparents looked great. My parents looked fine till the day they died. And now I have really straight hair, so you can't hide this with straight hair. My dad had really super Italian curly hair, so just a few of those little curls could do a pretty good comb over. Anyway, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland, Sensei Albano. Oop, oop, oop. Oh, look, it's Johnny Toilet.
Hello.
Hey, JT, how you doing, buddy?
Hi. Hey, how are you? Who's JT?
Yep.
Hey, how are you? Hi.
Baby Jesus is in my heart, and
Why?
I'm doing great. Born again every second of the day.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Oh, guess what? I asked,
What, JT?
what is JT?
Let your imagination run with you.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get Danica and the kids back, but for now I asked if anyone on the filmmaking and acting site in Virginia, if they want to live at that house too, like people that might think it's fun. But we're and I was gonna see if they might pay some rent, something a little bit, or just film videos. And so you could be here and we could hang out at the house and stuff.
Well, that sounds fun. Like I said.
Oh, and I got these wigs I got a wig for you.
No, you can do whatever you want, John. You are the decider.
I got these cool wigs. I got these cool wigs, and you can wear. They're like different colors. I got them on the phone with you. When we can do videos and wear wigs.
So anyway, here we are coming to New Year's, and we are You're going to see things that you thought you'd never see, but you thought you'd never see things like last February. You never thought you'd see war in Europe, more than 500,000 people dead. So, John, what do you think about the war in the Ukraine? What do you think about the 500,000 people who are dead there? What do you think about, Saudi Arabia and what it's doing to the Mideast? Yemen. What do you think about the war in Yemen?
Hello?
Yeah, here I am, JT. What do you think of the war in Yemen? What do you think about the 20 million Americans who are homeless? What do you think about the 40 million children that go to sleep hungry in America? Do your children go to sleep hungry in America?
Hello?
So, your daughter, how's she? Why is she your daughter?
Hi. She's okay.
Why is she your daughter? Wasn't she?
Does God want?
Wasn't she was her father's sperm came from another man? The sperm,
It doesn't matter.
your daughter's sperm
my
didn't
dad
come
was
from
adopted.
you, right?
My dad was. So she's adopted by me.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Did you go to court? Is it legal?
Well, I'm gonna get her somehow. I might have to go to California and make money and rent out my house and make money in California and then I can
How
hire
come you
her
haven't
and I'll
done
get
that
all
in the
three
last
children.
7 years?
I'll
How come
let
you
Dad
haven't
go get
done
her
that
out
in the
anyway.
last 7 years?
She can be around.
So that is why John is the, he really does represent what is the problem in America, right? Because he is stuck. What did you say, John? And when he comes to realization about his life, he doesn't want to listen to it. I think that looks pretty good. I think I'm starting a new style. You know what this is? This is a form of a bungee, right? And I use it for, when it's time to mask up, right? It's this way, I am totally covered for, COVID. This is the condom of COVID, right? This is the raincoat of COVID. I will peek up, but you can also, I like it up there. So anyway, what time do we have? Oh, well, come on, guys. The three of you, how about some more thumbs up? How about some comments? How about getting some more subscribers? And how about putting something in PayPal? It works. About a week ago, even less, before Christmas, someone sent me a nice little gift, because that's all it is. I don't charge for this. I don't have it on Patreon where you have to pay it. I don't have, YouTube showing you a commercial, or maybe they do. I don't know. John makes money off of all the JT. JT makes money on all of the videos that he did of me. They all went, whee! And basically, he has all these years of him making money off of me. Why does he always say, "You cost me money when you're here"? You cost me, because he feels guilty about stealing, because he steals. We all steal, right? And the more unconscious you are, the more you steal, right? You lie, you cheat, you steal, right? At 6, I learned there's no winning. There is no upside to lying, cheating, and stealing. But humans are venal. If you're unconscious, you lie, cheat, and steal. I see it all the time. I view it all the time, right? But I do my best, right? And so 60% of the time, I am consciously intent. I am consciously aware. I see everything. 40% though, I'm a moron. Right? Like I think I told you the story of the Wednesday just before the big coldness came. It wasn't raining or snowing or anything, and I went all over the place getting things. I went to different churches and said, "Hey, you got a couple of cans?" Because I had, this is when I gathered up the homeless and put them in the box, right? And it's a nice box, It's my hippie wagon, right? And it's got a wood stove. It's got platforms for beds. It's got, you can sleep about 6 people in there. And, it's about 20 something feet long and about 8 feet wide. It's got windows all around. It's definitely dry. If it rains, it snows, you're not getting wet, right? It's definitely, when the wind blows, and it was pretty blowy, we had wind chills like it actually was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, even last night. Last night it was negative 29. It was like 19 degrees below 32, 29. So it's like it was. This is Fahrenheit. It was like 29 is what is that? 4 degrees below the freezing of water. Well, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those days, especially at the nights, especially Friday night into Saturday morning, Saturday night into, and that's why we had the big fire on, because I had all of this cut wood that you needed a big fire to get going. The little wood stove for the fun wagon was, it kept, you'd have to get wood. And they wanted me to go to Lowe's to buy them wood. I said, no, we live in a forest, go pick it up off the ground. I said, and put it underneath the fun wagon, let it dry out, and it wouldn't do it. So I didn't start the fire. So after that first night that it was really cold, they did it because I wouldn't do it, right? Anyway, so I got to go. I got things to do, places to travel. I may or may not, depending on how much you put in PayPal. And it's only a gift. It's not it's something you got to do. If you want to share with your Sensei Al Bob, your griot, I'll tell you more stories. But, I really have no, and the gas went up like 60 cents in 6 hours, right? Around here. It was like bizarre, right? So that's just a harbinger of things to come, guys. Better get ready. And you can go watch all the YouTubes you want about how to do this or how to shoot a gun or any of the above. But if you're not watching, Sensei Al Bob, and I have more than 2,000 shows, right? I see people, like that lady down in Florida, something beach, she's got, she's been doing it for 15 years and she's got like 6 photographs up, right? So she doesn't want to show who she is, right? And most people who don't do a show aren't showing who they are. Now, some people, they do a really good job. I mean, YouTube is great. There's so many shows on there you can find out. It's better than Google, better than Wikipedia, right? So every time I do a show, I do it in meditation, right? There's this shamanic show. So you're getting up and energetic, right? But today's show was about, the dichotomy between JT and me, right? I know things can always be worse. When I was a photojournalist, I went to Yugoslavia to photograph the Olympics in '84 in Sarajevo. And Sarajevo was a beautiful city. I mean, the essence of the old European city, opera house and this and that was just beautiful, right? Laid out amazingly. And it had modern stuff too. It's a great city, great capital, right? And at certain times it was capital of many different empires, right? And that's why there were so many different people, Christians, Jews, and Muslims, and they were all living together, right? And I went there, you know. So I was, you know, I didn't work for any specific. I was a, you know, on the line, you know, a contract boy, meaning I didn't work for anybody, right? I shot pictures. I had an entity that took my photos and then sold them. They took a chunk and I took the rest, and they did all the hard work of running it around and getting people to take the pictures. I had my little niche, right? And so I was, you know, hey, we want you to go to the Olympics. And I said, well, I don't want to do that. There'll be all these other guys taking pictures. I'm not taking pictures of people running around in circles, no. And I said, oh, no, we know that. What we want to do is send you there a month before the Olympics, right? Before anyone shows up. We want you to go around Syria, go and do what you do. Get to know people, then get into their lives, and then take pictures of it, and then move around and get the flavor of the human experience of the citizens of Yugoslavia and Sarajevo in particular. And I did. So I met a whole bunch of people. I did all the things, you know. They invited me to their homes, and because I would take pictures and send them off, and I could have them sent back to me, developed. And so I would have pictures, really nice 11 by 14s of mommy and the kids, and you know, of them running around and capturing them at their best and at their worst and their most funniest. And I give them to these groups of people, right? You know, whether it was their church or their synagogue or their mosque, I would be part of all of them. And so that month, people became really tight with me, right? It became, boy, this guy is all right. And so then the Olympics happened, and I took not so much a picture of the Olympics, but what it did to Sarajevo and blah, 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 right? And then I stayed there another month because those people who I became friends with, who were city dwellers, took me out to the country to meet grandma and to, you know, see the little town they grew up in and and the places that have become the different countries now, you know, that got split up. And so it was pretty obvious to me that these people did not get along. And even though they were stuck together for almost 100 years and they had married into each other's families, this ain't going to look good. Ain't going to work out. You know? So anyway, so 4 years later, I had been in contact with those folks who were still alive, and I went over and I saw what war had done to that beautiful country. Anyway, so that's what you got to look forward to here in America. Unless you put love in your heart, unless in every day and every way you take the piece of the earth and make it stronger, unless you open the door to baby Jesus into your heart, and that's what you serve. You don't serve your ego. You know, JT, why do you say I should get rid of my ego? How do I get rid of my ego? I mean, listen to him, you know, on the phone. Pretty much ego all the way, right? Then he says, God and Jesus, God and Jesus. Because he thinks every time he says God and Jesus, there's a little bell going off. And he's like, you know, it's like how many likes, you know? Every time he says God and Jesus, God, that's like likes to God and Jesus. Not really. It's what you do. It's how you live your life. I do these shows. And I suggest that you go start watching one's way. Start at the beginning and just start working and just kind of flip through them. And then when the show is running, you put your little cursor on that little red line and just kind of, and you see my face do this, and open yourself up shamanically to that. Okay? I'm free. You can be free that way. Free falling. I'm free. Free. Come on, gang, sing it with me. Falling. Boom, boom. I gotta go. Look for me in the east, where the sun rises. I will be on top of the hill. I will be on my white steed, and I will be coming to the rescue. Sensei Alba to the rescue. Every time I go on the YouTube Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Alba, wake up, wake up, wake up, morons. Free falling. Oh, look at that, 50-50. I love it when it does that.